All right. Well, hello, good afternoon, and welcome to our webinar. My name is Bobby Haggard, and I am with Trendsoft, and I'm excited to open the floor and get this webinar started as we talk about Business Central and getting ready for year-end processing. I'm joined on the webinar today by one of my coworkers, Matt Wood. He's the director of Dynamics here at Trendsoft, and so he's actually going to be walking us through a sample company, a demo company about the keys and the do's and don'ts of the year-end close. A couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. We went ahead and muted all of the phone lines, hopefully to keep down some of that background noise, some of those background comments, etc. And so, if you have a question, which we absolutely encourage, drop those questions into the Zoom Q&A section. We are monitoring those questions that come in, and we'll be happy to address those at the end of the presentation. Secondly, if you're interested in the video recording, drop your email into the Q&A. We'll know exactly what that means, and we'll be sure and get that sent over to you once it becomes available. So, looking at the people on our webinar, thanks everyone for joining. You can see that we do have a mix of both current clients and those who are new to Trendsoft. So, for those of you who are new, just wanted to give a quick introduction into who we are as Trendsoft and what it is that we do. So, at Trendsoft, we're business people who have come from a diverse business background, and we work hard to solve unique business needs of all different types of organizations. So we're dedicated to helping businesses like you guys streamline your operations, improve productivity, and drive growth. And so we've been around for a while. We were founded in 1996, and we've since achieved the highest level of Microsoft certification available, being recognized as a gold certified Microsoft ERP partner. We were also just awarded with a new award called our Small and Mid-Sized Business Management Specialization Certificate from Microsoft. So, which really just means that our team is well equipped to understand your unique business challenges and provide tailored solutions to meet your specific needs. We've also been recognized by Accounting Today as a top 100 VAR, value-added reseller for the last 5 years. Today, we have about 225 active clients throughout 17, 18, 19 states here in the U.S., and we work really closely with our clients to ensure a deep understanding of their requirements and objectives. And we really try to leverage the power of Microsoft's Business Central solution so that we can help them transform their business processes, enhance their visibility across departments, and empower their teams to make quick, data-driven decisions. Just to give you an idea of what it looks like to work with our team. So our comprehensive range of services includes implementation, customization, training, and ongoing support. We take a holistic approach to technological solutions, considering not only the immediate need, but also thinking about what it looks like to work with us long term. And so our aim is really to establish a long-lasting partnership with you and giving you continuous support and guidance throughout the business evolution. So, at Trendsoft, we have a long proven track record of successful implementations across different industries. And so when you partner with Trendsoft, you're getting a technology partner where you can expect expertise, customization, seamless integration with various business Microsoft related solutions. Think of Teams, Outlook, etc. Training and support, and then long-term partnership. As I mentioned, we're really committed to building those long-term relationships. So, with that introduction, hopefully that gives you a little bit of a brief introduction into who we are as Trendsoft, and we certainly would love to connect after this webinar, if possible. All right, with that, let me give a quick introduction to our main speaker. Matt Wood, as I mentioned, is joining us on this webinar. Matt is our Director of Dynamics. He's been working with Dynamics for nearly 15 years. He has a lot of great experience in all things related to Dynamics, including Business Central, GP, Dynamics Nav, PHP Plus, Power BI, and more. And so with that, I'm going to hand things over to Matt and let him take us through a walkthrough of things to do before you close out the year. Thanks, Matt.
All right, thanks, Bobby. Thanks for everybody to join here. I'm gonna get my screen shared here, and hopefully everybody will be able to see that, and then we'll jump in here. So let me get this screen and move this one over. All righty. Bobby, you seeing that okay?
I can see
Yes,
it,
we got
Matt.
it.
This is
All
Jared.
right,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, so Good news is with Business Central, the year-end process is relatively easy. There's not a lot of steps to it. In some systems, like a GP, for example, um, you've got to, you got to close out your subledgers and things like that. In Business Central, there's really not that much there. You're looking to just, let me see if we can get this thing moved out of the way. There we go. You're looking to just close the income statement and get those balances rolled forward. So what I'm going to do is walk you through a few things you're going to want to check before you get started. Then we'll actually walk through the closing process and what that looks like. And then we'll talk a little bit about 1099s at the end, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get there. So first thing, before we start doing any kind of closing, the first thing we want to do is go to our chart of accounts, and we want to verify that our income balance settings here are correct. Because as we know, we're going to close this income statement out. It's going to roll all our income statement accounts up to retained earnings. So if we have an account that is not in the right category, so if we have a balance sheet account that we've accidentally set up as an income statement, or vice versa, we're going to end up with the wrong number in retained earnings, and we may end up with a balance that's not getting closed out at the end of the year that we want to. So easiest thing to do really is just kind of come here, take a look through. Normally your accounts are going to be in order. So you're going to have your balance sheet at the top, income. So we're going to roll through here and we'll see, oh, there, maybe I got one that's not right. So we'll need to come back and look at that. We'll scroll on down and we'll see, okay, good. All our balance sheet are good. All our income statement. We want to do that before so that we don't end up having to fix something at the end of our close process. If something is incorrect, let's say this one's supposed to be a balance sheet, we can just come in and in our account card, we've got our income and balance field right here. We'll change that to balance sheet, and then we're good to go when we get to the close. So that's the first thing we want to do is just verify that we've got our categories correct here. That'll make it smoother when we get to the end. So it's number one on our list. Second thing we want to do is kind of look at our dates, because as if you've used BC, you may know, even if we close the year, it does not stop somebody from posting backwards into that year. Business Central uses allowable posting dates to drive that. And there's two places that those can be set up. The first one is the overall system. So if we go to General Ledger Setup here, we're going to see right here at the top of our list, allow posting from and allow posting to. So these dates right here are the system driven ones. And if normally you're going to be closing that year at the end, in January, you've probably got a few transactions you got to do. You come back from the holidays, you got to get some stuff done. It may be a few weeks before you're ready to close the year. So I always like to say at the system level, let's close those out so they can't post into to last year. So once we're ready, we'll set these. If I can type it right. Oh, it's because I went ahead of myself there. There we go. So we want to set at the system level in general. I'd like to set these to January. That way we're not going to have anybody accidentally post something into the wrong year once we've closed. The second place that we're going to set these dates is in user setup. So if we search for user setup, we'll go here and we're going to have a list of all our users. Now in my sample company, I just have myself here. But because I'm the one that's going to be doing the close, I go ahead and leave mine open for 24. So I got to leave 12/31/24 open so that I can then post my journal when I get done. So that's just a good practice. That way you don't have somebody accidentally, fat finger the wrong year, or they're getting back from the holidays. They forget that they're in 2025 now. This will stop them from doing that. Because as I said, just by closing the year doesn't stop them from posting backwards. It's all driven by these allowable posting dates. Okay, so that's our dates. So next thing is our inventory and accounting period. So if you're using inventory, which I actually am not in my sample company, but I will bring it up here and show you. Inventory periods. And if you're using inventory and inventory periods, just because you're using inventory doesn't always mean that you use inventory periods. But if you are, you'll want to make sure that you get these closed. So you want to come through here, come up here to the close period and run that. It's going to ask you a question. Are you sure you want to do it? You just say yes, and it'll mark them off. You'll go down through each period. Hopefully you're doing this on a monthly basis, but if you happen to forget and you need to go through and do it, you just want to make sure you get those all closed. This will drive us from having someone being able to post an inventory transaction backwards. And this one does, once you close it, it will not allow that. As well as some adjust cost considerations too. So if I've posted a receipt and I get the invoice after the year end, this will ensure that those transactions do fall into 2025. Then we've got our accounting periods. And these are the more important ones when we get to the actual close income statement. So we'll go here to accounting periods, and this is where we're going to set up all our years. So now you'll notice here I got 2016, they're closed all the way down until I get here to 2024. So right now 2024 is open, but you can also see I have not created 2025 yet. So I want to go ahead and get that done first so that I have a new year created. If you're out there and you're getting near the year end process, I would go ahead and get this new year created now. That way you're not, you don't get to the new year and not have one. Now it doesn't stop you from posting to 2025, but it's just good practice to go ahead and get this done. So we'll hit create year here. And it'll pop up and say, okay, what's my starting date? That's what we want, 1/1/2025 if I'm on a calendar. Number of periods, 12, perfect. Period length, 1M. So I'll say, okay, 1M meaning 1 month. So I'll do that. And you can see it goes ahead and creates my year for me here, ready to go. So I've got that going. Now I need to close 2024. And the reason I need to do this is I cannot run my close income statement process until I have this done. So we'll come here to this anywhere on the 2024, and we're going to go to close year. Again, ask us a question here. Are you sure you want to close the year? We're going to say yes. Now, one thing I will note before I even click yes, just because I close the year, I can still post transactions in 2024. So if I get audit adjustments later on, maybe we just missed a transaction that we forgot about. It's not an issue. You can still post those. You can even post them to income statement accounts. You can rerun that close income statement process as many times as you need. So if you get audit adjustments 6 months from now, you can still post a 2024, rerun this process I'm about to do called close income statement, and you'll still get those balances rolled forward and get those numbers restated. So I'm going to say yes here. All right, so when I do that, it's just going to, all it did is change this and set this to close. And in the background, what that's going to allow me to do is run my close income statement. Now, that's going to be my next step. Now, what will that do for us? It is going to take all our income statement balances for 2024 and roll them into retained earnings. So that way, my balance at date as of 1/1/25 will be 0 for my income statement accounts, and then it's going to roll it into my retained earnings. So that's what this process is doing. And that's why I say, as soon as you're ready, go ahead and run this close income statement once you've posted everything for 2024. That way, when you go to do your reporting, your year-to-date numbers, your balance at date numbers on your reports will be correct with the clear out. Okay, so we're going to run close income. So close income statement is the process we're going to run here. And it will pop open a window. Now, if this is the first time you've done it, a lot of this stuff will be blank. So let me talk through it a little bit. So first of all, we've got what year are we closing? So we're going to close 2024, 12/31/2024. It's just going to then ask us what kind of template do we want it to go to. In 99% of the cases, maybe even 100, you're going to pick general here. So you'll pick your general journal template. And then you're going to tell it which batch you would like it to go to. So here's my options. I always like to create a year-end one just so I know if somebody else is doing something in the system, I've got my own year-end batch that I'm going to be working in. So I'm going to pick my year-end batch. And then our document number. Now, it can come from the number series or I can put my own in. Again, I like to use my own. That way, if I need to look something up later on, I can easily find it. So I typically go with like a year-end 2024, something like that. That way, I go back to my general ledger entries 6 months from now. I don't have to remember, oh, what number was that? I can just type in YE 2024 and I'm going to find it. Then we're going to verify that this is the correct retained earnings account. So in this case, that is the one I need. If it's not correct, you can hit your drop down and find the correct one. All right, post to retained earnings account. So this one is just, it's not really changing what's happening. All it's doing is saying, do you want me to post the retained earnings as the balance? So basically the net income into retained earnings. Or do you want me to, for each individual account, post a retained earnings account? So if I pick balance, it's going to be one entry going into there. If I pick details, it's going to create a journal or a ledger entry for each individual income statement account. Then I can give it a description, again, close income statement 2024, whatever that needs to be. You can type whatever you need to in there. All right, if you have dimensions and you want to close retained earnings to those dimensions, you'll need to use this section here. So if I turn this off, it's just gonna, it will not close by dimension. If I turn it on, it will. I can then also come in here and select which ones that I want. So I may have like customer group where I'm not really tracking it at that level, but department I want to close at that level. So you can pick and choose which ones you need. We'll say close, and then we'll click OK here. Now, when I do this, it's going to go create a journal for me. So you can see the journal lines have successfully been created. I'll just say OK. We'll pop over to our general journals now. And we'll make sure that we're in our year-end batch. Now, sometimes you might come in here and you go here and you say, oh no, it didn't actually work. Make sure that you're in the batch that you selected when you ran your close income. So we'll come here to year-end. Here's my entries, and here's the breakdown. So you can see I did it by department and customer group. So I am getting those dimensions where they were coded. Some of these may not have been coded. Obviously a sample company, so very little activity here. You may have a much bigger list, obviously, if you've got more accounts than I've been posting to get ready for this. But this is the entry, one for each GL. And then because I picked balance, I only get one line at the retained earnings. So there's the number. If that all looks good to you, you will just post it. All right, so that's posted. So at that point, I'm done. I'm ready to go. I've closed my income statement. I can now run my reporting for the end of the year, January, wherever that needs to be, and I should have those numbers correct. So that's basically it for our year-end processing. Now, I do want to talk just briefly about 1099s. We do plan to do a follow-up because there's been a lot of updates to the 1099 process the last couple of years with BC. So I think we just think it deserves its own webinar. But I did want to mention one thing that you can kind of work on ahead of actually printing those 1099s. So when I'm over in my vendor ledger, I can view any transaction right here that has 1099. So I'm just going to sort this so I get the ones that actually have a code up here to the top. So you can see I've got 4 transactions here that have 1099 codes. Now, what some people don't realize is I can actually edit these at this point. So I can do that a couple different ways. So if I'm looking through here and I'm like, oh, these miscellaneous 05s aren't correct, they should have been NEC01. Now, if I have a ton, we're going to use edit in Excel or potentially using some kind of import, which you may have to reach out to a partner to kind of help. But you can do a lot of this on your own. So one way to do it is I can just click this edit list button up here. I can hit my drop down and I can just make the change to whatever it needs to be. So that's one route. Now, obviously, if I have a vendor that I messed up, I didn't set up correctly, and there's thousands of transactions, that's not really going to be a way to go because you're not going to have time to click through all those. So a second option is to use the edit in Excel functionality. So if I click this little button here and I go to edit in Excel, we'll open this file up here. Maybe. There we go. All right, once it gets itself logged in here. All right, so here we are. We're logged in. If I come over here to the right, we will see our 1099 codes here along with the amounts. Now I can also make updates in this file. So obviously if I got 1,000 and I need to do some quick updating, Excel is the lot better option. So let's just change this one to NEC01 and this one to NEC01 as well. And once I do that, I will click publish. So what publish is going to do is go write that information back to BC. Now, the nice thing about Edit Excel, it does have validation, business rules. It will make sure you don't pick a code that's not even a code. It also isn't going to let me change every field in here. So if there's certain ones that aren't allowed to be changed based on the business rules, it's not going to let me do it from Excel either. But this one I can, so I'll click publish. It'll say it's working on it down here, and then it'll tell you down here it is successful. This is a great tool to use all over the place, but for our 1099s, it is one that can kind of save us at the end. So once we've done that, we'll come back over here to our vendor ledgers. And once I refresh that, click on that and off, notice that these updated from my Excel. So I changed 2 of them, and there you can see the 2 that changed, NEC01, NEC01. So that's just a good way as you're getting towards year end. It's a good time to start looking at this stuff to make sure you didn't set up a vendor incorrectly, forgot to put the 1099. This starting now instead of right at the deadline here at the end of January can save you a nice headache that you don't want to deal with at the end of the year. So start looking at that now. Use these tools, and you can get that 1099. Like I said, we plan to do a second one on actually generating those 1099s. And filing those. All right, Bobby, that's all I've got. I appreciate everybody for listening.
All right. All right. Thank you, Matt. Let me flip back over here and see if there's any questions. So we've been monitoring the Q&A. We've answered a couple of those, but I don't see any others at this time. But if you have a question, absolutely drop that in. We'll have, Matt's out here now to answer any of those that we need to at this time. So he's happy to do that. The second thing I would just say as we wrap things up here, a couple of next steps. So a couple of suggestions. Matt mentioned a couple of those. First up, one, start planning for year end now. Year end, 1099s, W-2s, all that take a few minutes now before, the end of the year gets here and just take a few minutes to kind of sketch that out, what your plans are around closing your books, issuing 1099s, W-2s, all those related tax forms. If you have any questions, absolutely reach out to our team. We'll be happy to help walk through that. Secondly, one of the things I talk about when I talk with clients about planning that out is to really encourage them to perform a trial year-end close in a test company. So if you need help making a copy of your production environment into a sandbox or a test environment, reach out to our Trendsoft team. We'll be happy to do that with you, to create that environment for you, and then allow you to kind of walk through everything. Clients have said it's much more relieving to find an issue in the test environment than when they're going through the year-end close in the production environment at the end of the year, and it's already a stressful time. So again, plan it out, try it in a test environment as well. If you have any questions, as we've mentioned a couple times, please don't hesitate to reach out to our Trendsoft team and reach out sooner rather than later. We certainly don't want to have anyone get stuck here at the end of the year or running up to any of the year-end deadlines. So please reach out sooner rather than later as you begin to work and process through your year-end closing, your 1099s, your W-2s, etc. And then finally, follow Trendsoft. We release all kinds of great content on our various social media pages, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. We have an e-news that we send out every month with all kinds of great topics and information. So if you're not receiving that e-news, or if you're not following our blogs or our LinkedIn or Twitter pages, shoot me a message. Share your information with me, and I'll be happy to tell you how to get connected. So here is my phone number, my email address. Would love to connect with you to be sure that you're connected so that you're getting all those updates and all that information that we push out. With that, we're going to certainly thank you guys for your attendance in this review webinar. Again, if you have any questions or you'd like to schedule just a quick call with our team to really dive into some specifics that are related to your organization or your installation of Business Central, please do so. Don't hesitate, and let's get on that sooner rather than later. We know that you're going to have a successful year-end close, but if you have any questions, absolutely reach out. With that, we'll wrap things up and thank you guys for your time. And we hope you have a wonderful Christmas and holiday season. And we look forward to working with you in the new year. Thank you.